Good afternoon. Today we will talk about congenital abnormalities. We are doing pediatrics, and I'm your host, the Associate Medical Officer, Mr. Mwanza. So, before we go into details in trying to understand what congenital abnormalities are, we should understand the various types of congenital abnormalities that occur in units. Among the common congenital abnormalities that are there or that are found can be under the central nervous system, which is the CNS, the gastrointestinal. It can be due to chromosomal abnormalities. It can be due to the congenital abnormalities maybe on the lungs, or also these they can be under the CVS, which we call as the cardiovascular. So if we look at the background or the risk for these congenital abnormalities, the defect in a population is about 3 to 5% of all babies that are born alive, or those babies that are born that are past the gestation age. Okay, so these birth defects, they range from minor defects like polydactyl to major ones like Down syndrome. When we talk about the abnormalities, if we talk about the polydactyl, we're talking about these people who are born with the excess toes or excess fingers. So let us look at the etiology. When you talk about etiology, we're talking about the cause, okay? So these birth abnormalities or these birth defects can be caused either by a combination of genetic disorders and the environmental agents. So these brought together now bring about congenital abnormalities. Okay, so most of these birth defects, once there is a birth defect or there's a congenital abnormality that has occurred there, they are emergencies which require an urgent surgical intervention that may be needed in these babies. Okay, so let us look at the first type of congenital abnormality that is there. Okay, so the first one, we talk about the gastrointestinal defects. Okay, so we know that the GIT starts from the mouth all the way into the anus. When you look at the incidences that occur in the GIT, the first one that we talk about here, the most common is the cleft lip palate. Okay, so the cleft lip palate now, this is a congenital abnormality that occurs whereby you find that on the top lip of this baby, there's a space in the connection between the mouth and the nose. Okay, so these abnormalities, they range from bifidabula to complete bilateral cleft palate. Okay, so you know that sometimes you find that this cleft palate, it is just a small space that has occurred there, but sometimes it's bilateral, which means on both parts of them, the lips of this neonate that is born. What is the management? Most of the time, the management for these babies that are born with cleft palate, cleft lip palate, we do a surgical management whereby we repair. Okay, so once there's a repair, there's a scar that forms, but you continue with the management by encouraging speech of these babies. Also, you ensure that there is bonding between the mother and the baby, so that you control. So you ensure that the sucking reflexes, they are not lost in this baby. Okay. So when the management, when you do the surgery on these babies in trying to close the cleft palate there, you ensure that feeding is done using a spoon. Okay. So if the baby is still able to suck even after this surgical procedure, you ensure that breastfeeding continues. Most of the time, you refer this surgery to a specialized plastic surgeon. So there are different types of surgeries that can be done depending on the experience of the surgeon that is working on this neonate. So we'll look at the GIT abnormalities. The other one we'll talk about the esophageal atresia and tracheoesophageal fistula, or others they are abbreviated as the TOF, which means tracheoesophageal fistula. When you look at the incidences of the GIT abnormalities, These incidences are in the range of 1 to 2,500. Okay, so esophageal atresia we define it as a lack of continuity of the esophagus. It may occur alone. More often, it is accompanied by a fissure between the trachea and the distal esophagus. Okay, so you find that these babies, when they are born, there's a miscommunication now between the trachea there. So which means that these babies, even in the ways that they'll present with, or for you to really make a diagnosis to think of this as an esophageal fistula, you find that these babies sometimes they salivate a lot. Also, sometimes there's aspiration of anything that tries to go in. The commonest tracheal or esophageal fistula or TOF is found in 85% patients. There is a blind ending of the esophagus. Okay, sometimes there's an esophageal fistula and the fistula joining the lower esophagus with the trachea and the carina. Okay, so most of these they occur in 7% of the what of cases you find them. Any questions? Okay, so let us look at the presentation of the TOF, tracheoesophageal fistulas. Okay. So most you find that these babies now, these babies during pregnancy, the mother will have polyhydramnios. Okay, so when you talk about polyhydramnios, this is a condition that is found in obstetrics too much. This is where the mother has an excess amniotic fluid during pregnancy. Okay, to a point whereby sometimes when you try to palpate, you are unable to palpate